Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode. We are privileged to have Robin Joffe, who has more than 2.5 decades of experience working in Japan, Asia Pacific, and now in the Middle East. We're talking to him live from our Dubai studio. Robin, welcome to the show.
Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Great. So, Robin, today's topic is very interesting, and at the same time, it's very important as the world evolves around global workforce. I think your insights from building large consulting firms and businesses from across the globe, and not just that, working with different types of people from across the globe. I think that's a very valuable experience that you bring on table, and we and our audience would like to learn more from your perspective. So first of all, thank you so much for spending time with me today. And
Thank you.
I hope as the session progresses, it's going to be very valuable for anybody trying to build a global team. So our subscribers, if you're not subscribed to our channel yet, please press the bell button and be with us till the end of the video as Robin walks us through his experience and deep dives into what it has in store for us. So leadership across cultures, and with your experience coming from the US, spending a significant time in Japan, Asia Pacific, and now with Dubai as a new home. I want to make sure that we bring those insights that can add a lot of value for somebody who's now trying to build a global team. What are the do's and don'ts that they want to bring on table? What is it that people can do differently? What has been your experience throughout? So I have some specific questions around it, but I'm sure with the kind of insights that you would bring on table, it will add a lot of value to that. So you had a unique experience working in the US, Japan, and now Middle East. How did this journey shape your leadership philosophy?
Wow, that's a fantastic question. I think the first thing when you're looking at leadership is to really know what you know and what you don't know. Right? Everybody thinks that they're experts about everything, but people aren't experts. So I think having humility and being able to understand that you don't know everything is the key aspect of being a good leader. Because you need to rely on a lot of people in your teams. It's not just yourself.
Correct.
Right? You need to work with experts that have maybe some more deep experience in a particular topic or a particular region. So you need to actually be reaching out to people all the time. And I don't try to know everything. So that's the first thing. I think it's such an important thing. It's like with technology. You can't be the expert in everything. So you really have to, rely on those experts, people that know a bit more than yourself, and to accept that. And I think also understanding that people have different approaches to things. I always remember sometimes in the very beginning when I got to Japan, I get so frustrated because I couldn't understand what people were trying to say, not about language, just about their thought process. And it wasn't until I started to understand what they were trying to say, not through the words, but through the experiences and through how they were trying to articulate things, that it started to become easier. And I didn't even need to sometimes hear the words. I'd understand by the expressions, by the body movements of what they either understood or they didn't understand. So I think being understanding that is a very key aspect. Knowing what you don't know is very important.
Starting from US, being in Japan, and now the Middle East, literally poles apart.
Yes.
And as you were transitioning through these roles, what were the biggest adjustments that you had to do in your career?
I think we all struggle even to this day is you want a certain thing to be implemented, for example, and the other people don't agree with you, and how to compromise on things, how to understand that your way may not always be the right way. So I think compromise is a very, very important aspect of understanding, trying to see things from different perspectives, not only yourself or your own ideas, trying to look at, is there another way to do that? You're still having your conviction, hey, this is the way I want something to be managed. This is something I want. So you have to be very clear about that. But to come to that final decision, understanding that maybe what I do in the United States is not going to be the same thing and not yield the same kind of results that I want it to yield in this culture or this market, because everybody has their own approach. And remember, people, when you come into a new market, many people are only 3 to 4 years in a market, and then they leave. And so, people may just say, oh yeah, I'm going to listen to this person and I'm going to accept what they say for the 3 or 4 years. But the minute they leave, I'm going to go back to doing things the same old way that I used to do it, and understanding that. So trying to make it that you're trying to make the people that you're working with almost that it's their idea in a way, that they have bought into it, that maybe they've created this idea. I think that's critical, because if you can do that, then you can work as a team. And as a team, you can then have the ultimate objectives, because people feel that they're empowered to make those decisions and that they were part of the decision making.
Did you find yourself getting accepted that easily? Because obviously, being in different countries, I think people often find it challenging while changing jobs in the same market. You've been across continents.
Yes.
How have people reciprocated and accepted you as a leader in those respective roles?
I think you have to show that you can do things. You have to have actionable things that you do that will show them that you know what you're talking about. So credibility is quite important. And that credibility only comes from proving or doing or showing to those people that you've done something as well. And it's not just words. I think a lot of people will sit in a headquarter in whatever country it is, and they'll dictate certain things, but then they haven't actually done it themselves. And so they don't come with the credibility. So their teams may give them, I call it lip service, right? And they'll say, yeah, we'll do this. But then they don't do it because the person that's telling you to do that didn't do it themselves. So I think credibility by showing is quite important.
So lead by example.
Lead by example, yes.
Makes
Lead by
sense.
example, yes.
Coming from corporate America, then being at the helm of things in Japan and now Middle East, do the leadership styles differ in these regions? And were you versatile enough to adopt to different styles and methodologies to lead those businesses and organizations?
So I think they're very different. I think in Japan, it's very much a team effort, right? You have to work as a team, make decisions as a team. And of course, things are changing every day with new technologies coming in, with AI, and with a lot of decision changes by more foreigners coming into Japan, for example. So that we'll see some changes. But I think overall, it's not just about me and myself and what I benefit or what I'm getting, proving, or I did it and I made the decision. So everybody look at me. Rather, it's about we as a team we've won or we've failed together. And I think that's more traditional Japanese way to do things, right? And again, like I said, things are changing as well. People are getting I don't know to say the word, remunerated they're getting benefit, financial benefit by showing their independence. It means salespeople will get a commission, for example, right? Whereas in the past, they may not have gotten that. It would have been a team effort, bonus team. And now you as a salesperson are getting your own commission for something you did. But in fact, you know what? You didn't do it by yourself.
Right.
You did it as a team. So I think as this changes, you will see some changes. But still, I think that's very much a team effort more. I think in the US, it's very much about what I've done. I've succeeded. I was the one who made the deal. I created the application. So people see that. And I think out here, I think it's a combination. And I think out here, it's a lot about using examples that are best in class globally. Because remember, in this part of the world, at least in the UAE, 90% of the population is from somewhere else.
Correct.
So you have multiple different types of cultures all mixing in together. So you have kind of a hybrid kind of result.
I'm always fascinated with the Japanese culture and what Japan has to offer as a whole. You've been there and lived that life. What do you think Western executives can learn from Japanese businesses and their way and their culture of doing businesses?
I mean, the thing that I always love about Japan is the quality aspect of things.
Right.
They want to be very excellent at what they do. They want to produce good quality products. Of course, there's a cost to that. You
Right.
have to measure the cost versus that performance you get, because now you're competing on a global basis. So I think you're going to see some degradation or some decline in the amount of quality you get, because you compete against somebody who can produce it at half the price or 1/3 the price. Maybe you don't need that level for everything.
Right.
But I still think the idea of excellence and quality, I think this is very important in Japan. And I love that about Japan. I always use the example, in Japan, you have wallpaper on the wall and you don't see which one sheet of the wallpaper meets the other sheet of the wallpaper. So if there's a line across, wow, it's perfect. Whereas in other markets, and I won't say any of these markets because it's not a
Right.
negative about them, it's just a difference. You'll ever see that just slightly off just a little bit. And in Japan, they'll rip it down if it's not perfect, and they'll put it back up again, and they'll do it a couple of times. So there's a cost to doing that as well, but you get that perfection.
Do you think in pursuit of quality, speed gets compromised at times?
100%. So I have an example. A friend of mine was telling me about a software project that he did, and it's no criticism, right? It's just different. He wanted to create software application. He gave it to two teams. He gave it to the Japan team and then another country's team. And the Japanese team didn't hear anything after a few days, and he was wondering what happened. But they were busy. They were working very hard to make it perfect. But they didn't want to come back until it was perfect. But it took them like maybe 1.5 times longer than the other team. And the other team came back like the next day with their solution. But their solution was really not that great.
Right.
So they had to come back 4 or 5 times to get that result. And the Japan team waited a week and a half to get the results. So different styles, basically different styles. Doesn't mean, so I think in this day and age, you need to be fast when you're on a global market because speed to market is going to be very key.
Makes sense. From Japan to Middle East. Middle East now, obviously, we are in Dubai right now. We're seeing Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, and other
Yes.
markets picking up as global players.
Yes.
What do you think this region brings in as a uniqueness when compared to US or Japan?
I think the fact that they want the best in class of everything.
Yep.
Right? They want the biggest and the best, which is admirable. They want to have great projects. They want to transform the economies. They want to the societies. They're all being transformed. And I think that the speed to change is happening very fast out here. The energy, the excitement of the energy, you feel the energy here. When I go to Riyadh and I just feel the people, they're all excited about the opportunities. They're excited about the changes that are happening in the society and the economy. You don't feel that right now in other countries around the world. So, think about all these opportunities. You see all the people coming in. They all want to be there. You wouldn't have felt that way like 10 years ago. But here now you feel that. And so I think what they can teach to the world is the excitement of growth, right?
Do you think with that excitement, you get in agility that is required to be a global leader? Because I see this when I look at Dubai, right? They want to do the best in everything,
Yes.
whether it's businesses or tourism. They try to be the
same
best.
in Saudi as well.
Right.
And there's that competition too that's going on between the two and the region too. Do I think they can be agile? Yes, I think they can. I mean, if I have a choice today where I'm going to work, somebody tells me, come tomorrow, go to some other, let's say Europe or the US. I'll say, no, I want to be here because this is where it's all happening. It's exciting. There are things happening, the energy in the marketplace of things happening is right here.
Future is now, as they say.
Future is now, absolutely. Absolutely.
Brilliant. What do you see as the biggest challenges for global leaders managing multinational teams?
Well, there's a lot of challenges, right? You've got technology challenges. And the pace at which technology is changing today means how do you manage those teams more effectively?
Right.
You've got the difference of opinion, right? Basically, post all of that nonsense of a couple of years ago of COVID, right? You have people that all wanted to work at home, right? So then you have that. And then you have people that are really people that like to work in the offices. And so you have a combination of personality and technology adoption, because not everybody's the same speed. So you also have overload. So people are still using emails and they don't respond quickly. And then you have tools that will help you, but people don't know how to adapt them to their lives yet. Many levels in companies. So I think that's partly. So technology and personality.
Interesting. So what leadership qualities are becoming increasingly important to live in this world, because I think it's a given fact that you're going to have diverse teams, you're going to have global teams. What would be those one or two qualities that you think, based on your experience, a leader should have that will help him or her manage the teams better?
So I'm not saying you actually have to be using it every day, but I think it's a benefit to using is technology and understanding how it's going to be changing. Because it's not just you may have a style, but the people that work for you, they're using technology.
Right.
Right. You have these younger people, right, who leverage technology, and that's how they make their lives. Right. So they do their lives. Every day they're using technology. And then you have people that don't want to use it at all. So at the end, you're going to have a very big gap between the people who use and don't use technology. And I think this is one of the key things. Whether you use it every day is another story, but you have to at least understand it and understand the capability that technology can bring, because some people will say, well, why do we need that? We don't need it. But actually do need it. And so I think that's one of the key things, is the familiarity of being able to use the technology and understand how it can benefit you in a leadership role, so that you can get more from the teams in a shorter time. So the teams don't have to be staying up every weekend, because they can leverage technology, and then how the return on the investment of that technology back. So that's one of the kind of areas. And then I think with the ability to work with such diverse teams, be educated. Right. So understand the differences between these different groups of people, and some of them it's just that people have to study a little bit. They have to understand that there are differences. Like you have to understand how to interpret what your people are saying. So if you have a big team of people that are sitting in India, but you can't understand anything they're saying because their accents are a little bit different than what you're familiar with, and then you're dealing at the next minute you're dealing with people from China and you can't understand it, you'll lose and you won't be able to quickly adapt. So I think understanding the differences between the communication styles, I think, is also quite important.
I think, having known you personally over the years, one thing that I would vouch for you is you take great pride in understanding different cultures.
Yes.
So you and I have spoken so much about Indian culture.
Yes.
I think that adds to your ability to manage global teams, because I fundamentally feel that to know a person at a workplace is important to understand where they come from.
Yes.
And what cultures they belong to. So I think that comes in more naturally. And I just wanted to call that out, attributing to your leadership quality. How important is that angle where you appreciate different cultures, you understand different cultures? By the way, for our Indian audience, Robin has on his sleeves, he has RAJ. So he often boasts that, I'm Raj, but that stands for Robin Arthur Joffe. So jokes apart, Robin, that's something that I've seen in you more naturally. And I think the fact that you've been so aware about different cultures has actually probably helped you in leading a global workforce.
Yeah, and I think yes, I agree with you. And I also think understanding a bit, you don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
You don't have to, every detail, but you also have to know what you don't know, right? And so, like, I like languages, for example. It doesn't mean that I speak every language. I don't. And it doesn't even mean that I speak every language that I, very well. Even the ones I know, make mistakes, right? But you have to make an effort, right?
How many languages do you speak or you understand?
6.
Wow. Can we have a call out just for records?
Sure. So, Japanese, Mandarin, Swedish, Spanish, and kind of Portuguese, kind of mixture. Did I say Swedish?
You did.
Okay.
Oh, wonderful.
And I'm learning Arabic, but I'm not that good. But I'm working on it. I'm working on work in progress right now.
And you're good at Hindi. With some words that you
just know some words. I just know some words.
That's great.
But I mean, at least you make an effort, because then you recognize the people. You recognize that there's something different. You realize at the end of the day, we're all the same. So I think also understanding that we have slight differences, but there's not that much difference. And the more I know about different people, the more I know that there's very little difference.
Interesting. We are in this age of next gen technologies. Everybody's talking about AI. Yes. Everybody's talking about the opportunities that lies ahead. If you were to implement a game changing technology like AI, for example, in a global workforce with people coming from different cultures, the adaptability of AI is quite diverse when you look at these regions. What is one advice that you would give to leaders as they implement technologies across the globe that can help them in streamlining the whole thing?
I think education is such an important thing because not everybody's at the same level.
Right.
I think the differences of this technological advancement or adoption of the technology may not be as much about different cultures, but about different generations within those cultures. So somebody younger across multiple countries will probably adapt to it different, at a faster rate equally than somebody who's like U.S. versus India or U.S.
Correct.
versus Middle East. I think that's more. So educating the team so that people are all on the same page.
Makes sense. If you were to build global teams in 2025, put yourself in that shoes where you are an aspiring new leader who's trying to build a global team, let's say hypothetically a global consulting firm, what would you take by your stride in terms of your understanding of cultures and diversity? And what would be that one important advice that will come out to somebody who's aspiring to build a global team today?
I think I'd started off with understanding what are the technological things that are available to enable teams to be successful. So start from a technological capability first.
Sure.
Because there will be, jobs are going to be disrupted, right? Every day they're getting disrupted. The industries are changing. Even consulting industries is being disrupted. So maybe take it from a technological point of view as opposed to in the past where it was all about the cultures and the different countries. So maybe from a technology view, start it from there as opposed to the people that you fit into the roles.
Right. That's great. Well, thank you so much, Robin. It has been a pleasure having you here today. And we look forward to many more conversations with you in the near future.
It's my pleasure, and I'm really excited to talk about these topics. And I think it's important for us to dig into them, to delve into them, and to bring them out in the open. Because the only way that we can improve and to make ourselves excellent is by highlighting them. So
brilliant. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Robin Joffe from our Dubai studio, a man who's been there, done that. He is an encyclopedia when it comes to cultures and adapting to global cultures and building global teams. So, I hope this episode was insightful. And stay tuned. Do subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon so that you get to see more such insightful videos as we interview leaders from across the globe. Thank you very much.